All right, I'm back from my hiatus, and it is most definitely unboxing time. Get that bike out there to shut up. Oh my gosh. Unboxing time. And I have got some things here, and I am very excited to see how this stuff turned out. Now, there's something I already unboxed, which was my internet switch, so I could get a wired connection up here. So there shouldn't be any trouble with internet connection today. So, here we go. First box here. One of these is a Super NES game, but I'm not going to say what it is. And it's a game that I've been searching for off and on for the past several years, and I finally found a good deal on one. What I think was a good deal anyway. Okay. Oh, boy. That is in really good shape. Kirby's Dream Course. Now, once upon a time, I rented this game, and I had no idea how to play it because it really hadn't been that long since I'd got the Super NES, and I was pretty new to video games at the time. I didn't even know that this was like a mini golf game. But I got the game and the box. Oh my gosh, this box is in really good shape for the age. Oh, and it's got look at it. It's got the cardboard insert thingy that the game sits in. And here's the game. Let's have a look. Oh my goodness, it's almost in too good a shape. Almost in too good a shape. It's in perfect shape. There's nothing wrong with this. It's almost, there's no way it's a reproduction. It's got the Nintendo emblem on it here. Oh my goodness. Man, that is excellent. I'm very happy about that. He did not have a manual for this, but put my pocket knife up here. While I'm going through this, let me move the mic down. While I'm going through this, I saw that Wings of Redemption had gone on Rich at Review Tech USA's podcast, which I thought was a kind of a noble thing to do. And I've given Wings a little bit of flack since I've come back to YouTube for basically just being an e-beggar. And I gotta get this other one open here. Yeah. I just recently watched the video of him having his famous look here, look, listen breakdown. And towards the end of it, he really breaks down and he just starts sobbing in front of the camera. And at that point, I kind of felt sorry for him because I know how he felt. If he has general anxiety, I need to turn this down. If he really has general anxiety disorder, what he's feeling right now not right now, but what he was feeling is basically all the telltale symptoms of it. You would think that it's actually depression, but it's not. Most of the symptoms of general anxiety problems are a lot like, seem like they would be depression. But so at the end he was sobbing, and there were three main things I noticed there. First, he was angry because I guess he was getting stream sniped. Some guys were watching him stream and going after him in the stream on purpose. It's a really crappy thing to do, even if he is a terrible e-beggar. And also fear, because he mentioned wanting to sue the guys that were stream sniping him because he was afraid he was going to lose money off of it. So there's fear, and then comes a feeling of worthlessness, which is basically what happened, when he just kind of broke down and started sobbing and, said something to the effect of, I hate my life, or, I hate all things to do with life, that sort of thing. He says he's taking Lexapro, but I don't, I used to take Lexapro. It didn't really agree with me, but I had these same problems too. It runs in my family, on my dad's side, my dad included, and a little bit with my brother. And, in our case, it's hereditary. And we, my dad, he just, I think in order for him to deal with it, he just has a cocktail every night. Me, on the other hand, I don't really drink that much. But a few years ago, it got really bad to the point where I couldn't get out of bed for fear of something bad happening to me, which is actually another more obvious symptom of general anxiety. Something bad happening to me, physically or whatever, and just in general, everything, bothers you. And then because you feel so worthless, that also just kind of adds to it. And there's always a trigger. Something happens in your life that causes the pot, so to speak, to boil over. And unless you get it treated some way, somehow, then, it's going to boil over. You're going to take the pot off the heat for a while, but it's going to go, but it's going to go back on the heat, and it's going to boil over again and again and again. And it's just a vicious cycle until you get it fixed and, acknowledge that it's a problem, especially if it starts to affect other people in your life, particularly my wife, was having difficulty doing her job. Now, this was all before we had James, our son. So, Waterloo seltzer water. All right, what do we got here? Yes, I think I know what this is. This is my Elgato HD60 capture card, which I will probably test a little bit later on. And he gave me a USB cable and an HDMI cable as well. Excuse me. Now, I don't know, does this one require a power cable? Because if it does, I didn't get one. I'm sure it's probably just a 9-volt. Or maybe this is, yeah, it might be. But I'll check on that later. I've got 9-volt adapters. It's not a problem. So there's that. So hopefully with this, we can eventually start streaming games I keep putting out there that I'm going to be streaming Donkey Kong 64 at my earliest convenience, but I still need a RetroTink 2X Pro, which they are not available yet, but I think we're getting close on those. Got the Castlemania Games website. Let's see what we got here. So anyway, back to the anxiety thing. I kind of know what Wings is dealing with there. And now, am I feeling sorry for him because he went on Rich's podcast? Maybe there's a little bit of that going on. But I'm a lot more inclined to feel bad for him than I would say like a DSP who basically told Rich to F off as far as going on his stream going on his podcast goes. I can't talk very well today. Wow, this is in pretty decent shape too. So this is the instruction manual for Kirby's Dream Course. And hopefully this will help me play the game, because I don't know, I don't remember if there were any on-screen tutorials. There probably wasn't. There could have been on-screen tutorials and I still wouldn't have gotten it, but I'm going to guess there probably wasn't. But yeah, this is going to be fun to play. I probably won't stream this unless somebody asks me to, but I am going to try it out here on my TV without the RetroTink and make sure it plays. So that's all I've got for today. I do have something else coming in the mail this week that may be even more exciting than this, because it's a Nintendo 64 game, and it's a Nintendo 64 game that I ought to own, and I haven't owned it. I have emulated it, but hopefully, I still can't get over what a good shape this box is. I mean, it's messed up right there a little bit, but it's like the structural integrity of the box is just really good. It's not like really bent or creased anywhere. And that's what's really nice. I mean, I have Nintendo 64 boxes that aren't really in as good a shape as this. And it's got the holder on the inside. So I mean, just yeah. Good stuff. Oh boy. But yeah, I would urge, how long have I been on here? Okay, it's about time. I would urge Wings to get some help if he needs it. And he's alone, which that doesn't help either. Obviously, he needs to find a way to lose some weight. But the bottom line is, if you don't have your mental health, you really don't have anything. My dad told me, he read it somewhere. I'm terrible at things like this. I can't remember where he got it from, but he told me that he read somewhere that they wrote something like, there is no worse feeling than the pain of a tortured mind. So you could maybe have your arms severed or something like that, and it's still not as bad as dealing with general anxiety all the time. And this is why people commit suicide, because they would rather be dead than deal with it. That's how bad it is. And there's a lot of I know there may be some people who are kind of like, well, they should just suck it up. Well, we have ways to treat this thing now. It's not like it was, 50 years ago or whatever, when, we didn't have medication to help with these sort of chemical imbalance problems in the brain. People, they either sucked it up and dealt with it and were miserable all the time, or they couldn't function in everyday life and they just had a miserable life. They just couldn't get on every day. because that's what it does. It makes it so, you have a hard time functioning. And Wings also mentioned that he had like a camping trip. No, it wasn't a camping trip, a survival trip scheduled with two other guys he was working with. I don't remember who they were. I think one of them was named Woody or something. I don't know who these YouTube personality people. I mean, this is kind of a whole new thing for me, but he said he backed out of it a couple days prior, which sounds a lot like something that somebody who deals with some sort of general anxiety would do. They want to try to do it, but when it comes time for the rubber to meet the road, they have to back out because they just can't handle the pressure that it has created in their mind. And just to describe the difference between what it's like when you're dealing with this and then what it's like when it's under control. There are so many things that can bother you when you're dealing with this. Going to the grocery store and finding that there's no toilet paper there. That could really bother somebody with general anxiety. Me, on the other hand, now that I have this under control, I get there, it's like, well, we have toilet paper at home, whatever. Eventually they'll just have some. And then I won't give it a second thought. There's no more downward spiral. There's no more boiling pot. It's just whatever. So that's my take on all of that. But I'm glad I got this stuff in good shape, and hopefully the HD60 is going to work. Hopefully I don't have to have a power adapter for it, but we'll see. So anyway, I'm going to get off of here, and I'll see everybody next time.